Man, oh man, this Batman situation just is not going away. We talked about it yesterday a little bit on the show about, well, not a little bit, a lot about certain things that might be going on and why Batman might be pushed back. Now there's a new report that Matt Reeves might exit the Batman altogether if shooting doesn't begin planned later this year. The report was that at 2026 they were going to start shooting. If that's the case, Matt Reeves might not even be involved. What are we going to make of all this? Because we're going to dive into all that. And we also, same thing, yesterday we talked about Brandon Sklenar and Batman. And he addressed it again in a new interview as he was promoting Drop. So we'll discuss that. We got Supergirl stuff. We have, there's a great article that came out in Comic Book Movie about some of the projects in the DCEU that were going to happen, but didn't once, James Gunn and Peter Safran took over. And we'll kind of go over briefly on that article and see if maybe there's something that'll happen with James Gunn and Peter Safran of some of those projects. We'll see. In Marvel news, Kingpin, well, Marvel and DC, Kingpin himself, Vincent D'Onofrio, is talking about he wants to be in a DC project. What project is that? And speaking of Daredevil, we'll give our thoughts on that. We got Thunderbolts coming out. We'll talk about the praise that the movie's getting. Gwyneth Paltrow might come back to Marvel. There's tons of stuff today. It's Capes and Cowls, everybody, on the Kristian Harloff Show with myself, Winston, and Coy. Let's do this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Capes and Cowls. I'm excited for this show. It's myself, Coy Jandro, Winston A. Marshall. The gang is back in town. Coy is now one of my favorite people in the world. It's very complimentary to me as far as noticing that I had been actually hitting the gym and losing weight. So that was very nice.
See it in the thumbnails. It's the jaw. It's coming back. It's right. Svelte.
Winston, on the other hand, said, "What are you eating, you fat bastard?" When I was eating like my lunch.
Yeah, that's totally what I said, and not what are the numbers.
It's lost, man.
That's right, lost. It's good to have you guys back. It's good for us to be back here. We got a lot to discuss on today's show. We'll get right into yesterday, man. We had Steph and Mike on. They beat Roxy. They stand at 126 today, which is a good number, which is a healthy number for you guys to try to beat.
Real talk. Someone I'm closing the comment thing right now. Someone was like, "Dude, it's your arms. It's
My
not
arms?
your jaw. It's your arms." You were out here looking like you ready to get into a DC Marvel movie, bro.
I'm trying. We'll see.
Which is one Logan Paul, Jake Paul puncher thing.
I'm telling you. and that was before I was wishing. I was like, man, I just wish I could have waited another month or two. to then have that competition with him. I would love to do that again with him. But nonetheless, we got a lot to talk about, guys. So let's get into the first story I actually want to discuss, even though we're going to dive so deep into all this Batman stuff because there's tons of it. But the first thing is actually this report that came out today about Gwyneth Paltrow is now said to be in talks returning to the MCU as the Pepper of the Potts. That's right. Apparently Blink 82 is coming back too. That's great. Okay. So, though we're not sure which project she'll appear in, Gwyneth Paltrow is now rumored to be in talks to reprise her role as Pepper Potts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One would assume Spider-Man. We haven't seen Paltrow as Potts since her emotional final scene in Endgame, but it sounds like Marvel Studios is planning to bring Tony Stark's widow back to the MCU. According to My Time to Shine Hello, Paltrow is now in talks to reprise her role for an upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe project. Either Doomsday or Secret Wars, or both, are the most likely possibilities, but there's a chance that Pepper could show up in an upcoming Disney Plus series. Paltrow debuted as Tony Stark's love interest in Pepper Potts in the first Iron Man movie and has since made several notable Marvel Cinematic Universe appearances, ultimately getting the chance to suit up and rescue in Endgame. Despite donning armor of her own and getting more screen time than she had in a lot of her previous MCU movies, Paltrow recently revealed that she still hasn't watched the movie. To be honest, I stopped watching them at some point. I've never seen Endgame. I can't keep track of who's what, but I probably should at some point. As for why she gradually became disillusioned with the MCU, Paltrow feels that the franchise hasn't been the same for a while. suggesting the movies gradually lost their independent feel as they went on. She said that the first film that we did was very different from the rest because the studio didn't think it was going to be a big hit. They hired Favreau to direct, who was great, and they hired Robert Downey Jr., who was unhireable at the time. His career was at a very low point. We improvised almost every scene of that movie. The actress continued. We would write scenes in the morning in John's trailer. It was like doing an independent film. And the movie was such a huge hit that we didn't make them like that anymore. Paltrow has previously indicated that she wouldn't have much interest in returning as Potts, especially if Downey Jr. Stark isn't involved. And then a big truck of money landed in her backyard, and she said, okay. Oh my God, stop yelling at me, she jokingly responded when asked why she stopped playing Pepper during a recent Q&A. We just stopped doing it because Iron Man died. And what do you need Pepper? Why do you need Potts without Iron Man? I don't know. Call up Marvel and yell at them, not me. I'm just sitting here. Paltrow does raise a good point. Does the MCU need Pepper without Stark, especially with Riri Williams Ironheart in line to take up the mantle of the next Armored Avenger? Okay, so there's a lot there because, one could say, well, she said she wouldn't return without Downey, but Downey is returning. But I can't even talk about this yet. I'll tell you why. I do have energy. I'm not going to lie to you. I do. But I'll tell you, I want to get that magic mind. I know that we all got it. I know we're ready because it really is. And Coy, I love getting texts from you on vacation on why you love Magic Mind so much. I love it.
I off camera love and adore. And the sleep one has markedly helped my life.
It really does. It's got for people who don't know, it's energy, but it's clean and it doesn't give you the jitters and it keeps you focused. It really does work, especially if you're like moving, and you have so much thing to do. I know Winston for sure. Like you got the audition coming up, and it's perfect time to.
That's actually why I'm really happy that we're doing this right now. It kicks in pretty quickly, but like I've got a big thing going on immediately after this, and that's what I need. I just need to be able to be sharp, and this Magic Mind don't miss.
And Magic Mind, you can get that coat KH20. It's the first thing you see in the description. Make sure you check out Magic Mind; they're wonderful. Okay, scooting over, we're gonna talk about this possible return of Pepper Potts. Coy, as I was saying, she said, it doesn't make sense without Downey. Downey is returning, obviously, as Doom. Is there a scenario where she sees his face and she just can't handle it? Is it Doomsday that she comes back? Is it Secret Wars? Is it Spider-Man? What do you think about this?
I could see it being used as a Secret Wars moment. I feel like they're going to really need to load up that movie with every cameo. The expectations for cameos as well as supporting roles is heavy, but so many of these roles I think are going to be supporting roles. So what's going to be the build on top of that? So I think in addition to Secret Wars, Ironheart would be a cool place. I don't think she's in Ironheart, but I think the moments in Ironheart set up an opportunity to have like a mentor role. Because she's the CEO of Stark Industries. Like there's an important role for Pepper Potts in the universe. And whether or not that interacts with Downey or not will be, a fan moment to be seen. But I think there's a potential. It is my biggest thing out of this quote is I was thinking about how much we're excited for Thunderbolts. And I've been thinking about how much we've been talking about the A24 elements and which cast members are in it. And then I was thinking like, man, it feels like Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, this Thunderbolts movie, all the ones that have that indie sensibility. Winter Soldier is the furthest from that, but even in that movie, the gritty choices and the against studio tradition kind of mode that movie operates in, all those are my favorite MCU films. So it is interesting to hear her directly talk about the studio system kind of taking over everything and it getting messy. The most studio of them that I love is No Way Home. But I think that was a lot of different lessons learned. But I think all of the best Marvel films through all the phases are the ones that feel more independent.
Yeah, I think, Winston, it's interesting she made those points because some of her points were very interesting. I mean, look, there's tons of actors that don't watch the stuff that they're in. Katie Sackhoff has never watched Battlestar Galactica. I mean, she talks about it all the time, right? She's never seen it. So
maybe I'm just really vain.
there's tons of people who do watch it also, man. There's a lot that don't. But she gave her reasoning as far as why. And the initial reason of, look, without Tony, what is she doing there? I think she could show up and do stuff for the kid, for Spider-Man. Sure, she could have maybe helped out Anthony Mackie and Falcon and Winter Soldier, give him a couple bucks for his boat. But either way, it makes sense what she was saying. What doesn't make sense all the way, although I understand where she's coming from. When she says, okay, look, that first movie was like an independent film, all that stuff makes sense. Like, yes, we know the stories that Downey was not. They were worried about him and that he was going to fall off again and all that stuff. And and we've heard the stories about them writing stuff on the scenes and all that. So we validated all that. But afterwards, it's like, well, they stopped being that afterwards. Well, yeah, because it became a hit. It's like, oh, of course, that's kind of how it works. You can't do that with everyone, because the other reason why you can't do that is you don't have Favreau and Downey Paltrow on the same and every movie. I've been around many people who improv ideas, and you go, please don't do that again. Like even with Schmodown, I remember some of the ideas that some people would pitch ideas. I'm like, that's brilliant. Yes, absolutely say that. And then I had someone pitch a team name, and the team name was Pants Optional for a team name.
I mean,
do you understand? I mean, I joke about all the time with like with Marisol McKee and Adam Collins. We want to call ourselves the Howls of Justice. Sounds like a bad 1930s movie. And now coming out of theaters, the Howls of Justice. I was like, but you get people who are suggesting stuff all the time. You can't do that in every movie. You just can't. Not especially when things are a success. So Winston, you hear all these comments about that in general. I want to hear your thoughts on that, but then couple that with, should she return in the next movie?
I mean, I hear some of what she's saying about if you don't have Tony, why would you have Pepper? But my immediate counter to that is, okay, so then why was Happy around? You like Happy, you would make the argument that Pepper is technically more important than Happy in the sense that she is the CEO of Stark Industries, as we mentioned. So that's actually a little more poignant than the fact that, Happy was sticking it to May. Because then even on top of that, then May dies and you still brought him in for Deadpool. So like that's where I start to go, I see what you're trying to say, but we've already proven that that's not a thing. So that's the first part. The second part, I do think she would be a good mentor, if not for Peter at this particular juncture, for Riri, in the fact that she's not only the CEO of Stark Industries, she's also an armored Avenger herself.
It gives a good connection. It does give a good connection there.
Yeah.
Too.
So then on top of that, especially if you can't lean on Rhodey, because Rhodey apparently is a Skrull or was a Skrull and doesn't even know where he is now, then then it would make sense to lean towards her, especially if you're not also going to have her go talk to Shuri or something. You know what I'm saying? So that's I think that would be a smart play. She's always brought like a unique element to it as well. And I agree with Coy that once we get to Secret Wars, I think she'll probably show up in Doomsday. And I think where it's going to show up specifically is you're going to end up in a situation where, again, I don't think this is evil Tony Stark. I think Victor Von Doom, from whatever universe he's from, looks like Tony and realizes he looks like Tony and uses it to his advantage to gain power. So I think that would be an interesting element to have Pepper, maybe even their daughter, be like, shit, and he's just playing it up to get what he wants. I think that would actually be a very interesting emotional pull at the heartstrings to do that.
Yeah, and they could very well do that, depending on how the story all fits together. And the fact that the Russos are going to be there, Downey's going to return. If they want her, they'll probably be able to get her. Right, if it fits in, even if it's only like a scene like she did in like you said, Coy, in the Spider-Man movie. So, all right. Well, what do you guys think? Should Gwyneth Paltrow return? Does it matter? Should Pepper Potts make an appearance to really tie it all together? Will it feel like that classic, Marvel Phase 1 through 3 tone? What do you think? Put your thoughts in there. Got to know. Real quick, I want to talk about Daredevil. If we're talking about the MCU, I haven't really talked to Winston and Coy about it as much. We discuss it briefly every time we're talking about it on the show, but it's usually brief, and probably brief again too. But I think Coy, you said last week that last week's episode 7, not 8, was your one of your least favorites, I think.
Yeah. 7 didn't really. 7 was all the concerns I felt other people had kind of coming to fruition for me. I loved 8, and it helped me a lot.
8 was awesome.
8 was incredible. 8 actually band-aided my problems with 7, and it also, I think, did the impossible, which is it's kind of causing this great attachment from the old Disney Plus show into the new Netflix. Sorry, the old Netflix show. I feel like it's coalescing with the Disney Plus show in a way that season 2 I think is going to feel even more like Netflix, because this season they've had to do the impossible and they've had to like cherry pick elements of what was already filmed. They had a whole show done, they scrapped, but they kept some of it. So what they've been able to do with 1, 8, and parts of 2 through 7 have been impressive. But 7 was an episode that definitely felt like they had to kind of end an entire storyline hurriedly. I felt like the way they ended Muse, because I know we've talked about like me reading the comics versus not, but even just from a TV standpoint, I did feel like they didn't set up enough with Muse to make that 7 as impactful as it could have been, even with like 3 more scenes throughout the other episodes. Whereas 8 was like, hey, let's slow down, let's marinate, let's make this incredible tango of the way things have come together. They built this arc structure of Kingpin rising back up while Daredevil is rising back up, this born again mentality. What I love most is that it's not only Daredevil being born again, not only Kingpin being born again, but it's the show being born again. Like Daredevil, the property, is born again. 100%. And so that felt like 8.
100%. And I think that what I liked about, I mean, I've liked every episode. I've really liked every episode. And I think that it's because of what you just said, Winston, it's like this slow build and slow burn that they've allowed it to breathe, and it's finally gotten to a place where Coy said, where you feel like, oh, okay, it's exactly what this show is supposed to be. But are you all caught up, Winston?
So that's what I was texting earlier today. I didn't do 8. I was going to say with 7, it did throw me off. It seemed very abrupt. With how things were dealt with in that particular episode.
Spoilers. Just be careful on
spoilers. Right. That's what I'm just leaving it at that. I'm just how things were dealt by the end of that episode was. I was like, oh, okay. We keep doing this thing very rapidly, and I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, on the one hand, it kind of feels like, okay, this is a little comic-y, but I know that we're gonna run out of episodes soon, so it's a little weird to so abruptly do certain things that are happening. But I will say the only thing I do know about 8 is because it has been a meme all over Black Twitter over the last like 24 hours of making jokes about Matt like Stevie Wonder. A lot of Black people like to make this joke that Stevie Wonder isn't actually blind. So for him to dance with Kingpin's wife and look him dead in the face, like, a lot of people be like, I would instantly throw hands with this blind man if he did some shit like that.
Well, but that's the other thing I was always curious about is that, and this might be an answer that you guys have easily, is it might be from season 3. If Kingpin knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, why doesn't he expose him?
I think there's a mutual understanding of, if you're going to stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine, that we have at that diner scene.
They haven't stayed in their lanes.
But now, I mean, what's going to happen with the events of 8? Like now he knows that he's back because of 7.
Right. But it's because the end of 8 that I say, oh, now I understand why he wouldn't. But it's I don't want to spoil things.
I know. So I'm like, how do I answer that?
Anyway, so I really like what this show is doing. It's a bummer that it's like no one's talking about the show. Minus,
the numbers on like reactions and reviews is so different than I expected. I thought this was going to be, we talked for a year about this being the big comeback show.
It's the best quality Marvel show in quite a while.
I would say this is on par with Loki, again, Benson and Moorhead, and WandaVision. It's that top tier of Marvel for me.
It's a very well written, put together, well acted show.
Especially the stuff they clearly have put together in the new era, especially the stuff that is Justin and Aaron's work that's going to lead into season 2. I think season 2 is going to be WandaVision pre-finale good.
Yeah. Well, they greenlit season 3, so we know that 2 and 3 are coming. So I couldn't be more excited about it. I hope people get on board with it and check it out.
Yeah, never mind. I realized there would have kind of been some spoiler stuff for 7. I know that we're a week ahead of that, but I'm just going to be quiet.
Fair enough. What's your thoughts on it? Are you digging Daredevil? Have you not watched it? Have you decided to bail on it? What say you guys? I got to know. Tickets are not on sale yet for this show, this one here, and I haven't, and that KristianHarloff.com doesn't even exist. It's fixed. It's a different picture. It's just only the one I have at the moment, but I want to tell people about it. Sam and I are going to be doing a live show in New York. We're just waiting to put it on sale, so I just want to tell everybody about it now, just let everybody know. And the other thing I want you to tell you about, I got a Honeycrisp apple tree growing in my yard, and I'm so excited about it because of fast-growing trees. And then just got word that I'm going to be getting some new Via coming my way. I'm so pumped for both of them. And I'll tell you why I'm so pumped. Here you go. I get very excited every time I get a chance to talk about Via. Man, I love Via. 420, it's right around the corner. There's no better time to elevate your wellness routine, whether you want to relax, recharge, refocus. Via has the perfect lineup for you. If you haven't tried them yet, you're really missing out. I've been telling you about them for months. They are the best. I use them all the time. The sleep gummies, oh my God. I'm telling you. I just told my buddy Chris about them. He's going to get them soon. Whether you need to unwind, refocus, boost your mood, Via is here to enhance your everyday and night. It's trusted by over 500,000 happy customers. Via is changing the game in natural wellness, blending powerful, high-quality hemp-derived ingredients to deliver real, effect-driven benefits. Whether you're looking to sleep better, that's me, have better libido, improve focus, recover, or simply relax, Via has a tailored solution just for you. With products ranging from 0 to high cannabinoid levels, Via lets you fully customize your experience to fit your needs. Doesn't matter what you're looking to support. It could be your daily wellness routine, enhance focus and clarity, or unwind with deep relaxation. Via has you covered. I wonder if you wonder, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I start? Take Via's product finder quiz to get personalized recommendations tailored to your needs. It can take less than 60 seconds to complete. So, if you're 21 and over, please check out the links to Via in our description and treat yourself to Via's annual Spring 420 sale. Black Friday level savings up to 35% site-wide right now, up to 50% off packs and bundles, and get a free gift and more savings with your first order using our exclusive code Kristian. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders over $100. That's code Kristian at the link in our description. After you purchase it, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You got to tell them that we sent you. Support the show and tell them that. Enhance your everyday with Via. Let me tell you guys about Fast Growing Trees. I've discussed them before. I want to tell you about them again. They are the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers. They have all the plants that your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and a lot more. Whatever plants you're interested, Fast Growing Trees has got you covered. You can find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. You can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape. You choose the right plants and learn how to care for them. That's exactly what I did. Everything I just said right there. That's what I did when I got my Honeycrisp apple tree. My wife was so excited to get it. We got it. It was beautiful when it got there. And then put it outside. We called somebody up to ask the kind of soil we needed. They said the kind of care we needed to give it. And it is thriving in the backyard. We're literally treating it like one of our kids. My little one gave it a hug. So it's really great. We love it. We love Fast Growing Trees, and we hope you love it too. This spring, they have the best deal for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIGTHING at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIGTHING at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BIGTHING. Perfect time to plant. Use that Big Thing code to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. You know, I got a DM yesterday from somebody, and they said, hey, I really want to know, like, I really appreciate your show and anything I can do to support it. Thank you. It means so much. I said, look, every single show that I do, we have really good sponsors, and I try to give people opportunities to get something from themselves in the process of helping the show. And I think that's what I just did there with Via and Fast Growing Trees. So, gentlemen, right now, not bad. Look, yesterday going into the questions round before Steph and Mike won, they had like 32 questions or something too. You guys have 20 already before we even at the thing. You guys are in good shape. They knew you guys were going to be competition today.
Well, yeah, because the Batman apparently not about to exist. I know people got questions.
I know. We're going to get into that. And we also, there's another story about Captain America we'll get into after that. But let's dive into this Batman stuff because it's a lot. We talked about it yesterday, but now there's a new thing in this story. Matt Reeves, apparently, this is a rumor. might exit the Batman Part 2 if shooting doesn't begin as planned later this year. While it currently appears as if Batman Part 2 will begin shooting this year as planned, should the movie be delayed again, there's a chance filmmaker Matt Reeves will step away from the project. In Batman 2, repeated release date delays have led to concerns that the movie will never happen. While The Batman was a success in 2022 and The Penguin received rave reviews when it premiered last September, Warner Brothers giving up the franchise isn't outside the realm of possibility. Neither the film nor TV series ended on a cliffhanger as such, and with DC Studios looking to deliver its own Batman movie titled The Brave and the Bold, there's something of a conflict there that surely puts the Batman franchise at risk. So earlier this week, there was once again chatter online about the Batman Part 2 being pushed back because filmmaker Matt Reeves or someone else close to him is dealing with health issues. He's yet to comment on that and likely won't, given that's a personal matter. On the Hot Mic podcast, Jeff Schneider shared his take on whether Robert Pattinson joining the cast of Dune Messiah is an indication that the Batman sequel is about to be hit by another release date delay, which was said to be a possibility earlier this week. I don't think anything has changed. I don't believe that movie has been delayed. I think Pattinson is doing both. Yes, he's going to do Dune this summer, and then yes, that's the summer, and he's going to be Batman in the winter. When they say push to 2026, could that be like, hey, we're going to start in December, and now we're starting in January? That could technically be it, Snyder continued. I don't think there was a massive delay. While the prolific reporter declined to specify what's happening in Reeves' life, he did express a strong belief, which may be more opinion-based than scoop. If Reeves isn't able to begin work on the Batman Part 2 by the end of 2025, there's a chance that Warner Brothers will move on without him. Whether that means scrapping the movie or hiring a new director isn't clear. He said, I know that Grace said something the other day on her show. I think she has certain things wrong. I think that situation is still unresolved, and that's why things are still unresolved as far as the Batman. I'll put it this way. I think even though that situation might be unresolved, I would say that if a decision isn't made by the end of the year, if the movie doesn't get up and running by the end of the year, I do think Reeves will exit. I think it'll be a, hey, we've got to move on here. It'll be very sad at this point. People are going to be understanding the circumstances, but there's some frustration, and it's going to be, we need to go on this with or without you soon. This may put an end to theories that there's some kind of rift between Reeves and DC Studios leadership. However, if Gunn is holding off starting work on The Brave and the Bold because Warner Brothers wants to prioritize the Batman Part 2, something's got to give. Batman remains DC's biggest box office draw, and at this rate will be closing in on 2030 before seeing him take center stage in a movie again. That won't benefit the DCU or Reeves' Batverse. Tellingly, Snyder also suggests the sequel script still isn't done. Well, we don't know this. It says the Batman will be released in theaters on October 1st, 2027. It's supposed to. I don't know about that. I want to clarify something also because I saw Jeff Snyder, and this is one of the few articles that I think did mention this because Snyder said it on Twitter. Snyder was pissed that so many people picked this story up as a story. He said, this is my opinion. He's like, this is what, in the same way that we're making our opinion here in about a minute or two from this question. He said, it was my opinion on what I think could happen. It's not gospel, and people are taking it and putting it as a headline. He's like, that's what I think, but I don't know that for sure. It's just an opinion. So I want to make that clear going into this, that Jeff didn't say, oh, you know what I heard? If he doesn't do this, he's out there not doing it. He said that's what he thinks. And I think it's a fair assessment to make because my thought process on it, guys, is that what I think is happening, and I made this point yesterday, and I'd love to hear what you both think. And Koya, I know there's only so much like you could say, B want to say at this point. So we understand that if you've got to kind of tiptoe around things, I completely get it from your relationship with DC. But I'm going to start with saying that I think that what Warner Brothers is doing, I don't think they're prioritizing Batman Part 2. I think that they're waiting to see a bunch of different things. One, whatever the situation might be with Matt Reeves, and giving him the respect of figuring out whatever it is, personal issues, and they know what it is. We don't, and nor should we. Not our business. They'll figure all that stuff out. But I think what Warner Brothers is doing is they're going, we've got a really big movie and an important movie coming up in 2 months. It is a massive movie. It is Superman. It starts our DCU. If the movie fails, it makes no sense for us to go, you know what, let's not do the Batman 2 right now. Because if the movie fails, the DCU universe, unfortunately, no one's going to care about it because that's your linchpin. That's the thing. And if you don't have a Batman movie lined up anytime soon, you're in trouble anyway. So they're waiting there. Let's see how this does. If this does well, and Supergirl is the next one, then I think the Batman 2 is in serious trouble. If they can't get it happening. If it isn't, this movie come out in 2035 with old Robert Pattinson. Who cares? Because they're going to need something anyway. So they're waiting. I think that's what they're waiting on. And if Matt Reeves decides, hey, this is a lot for me right now, I can't do this, and I probably won't do it for a little bit, so I'm out. I also think that's a possibility. But Winston, you hear all this stuff, like this particular story. What do you make of it, man? You're muted, buddy. You're muted.
I think first of all, above all else, and I don't normally follow Grace Randolph or anything like that, but I will if she's even remotely close to write about something near a Bozeman situation. I would hope that we are in a place now where people learned from that and would leave people alone and let them deal with things and stuff that's going on. Especially if anything starts to come out about anything, to immediately back off and just chill. It's not that serious. Clearly, whatever they're dealing with is serious, but getting your movie faster is not that serious. The second part is I totally understand why Jeff was going off, but I also push back on that a little bit in that is unfortunately what a lot of movie news has been the speculations and the rumors and things like that. And we know people take stuff out of context and just take headline and sound bites. Right. Versus really looking into full quotes, context, all that kind of stuff. So it's something that we have all agreed across all media needs to be adjusted, but it's just something that's going on. And then third of all, if Reeves is out, I would make the argument that this iteration, this world is gone. I don't think it would make sense to try and replace anybody, to try and pull anything like that. This was clearly his baby, his vision. It'd be like trying to do the Dark Knight trilogy without Nolan. That's not a thing. I don't care how good of actors you have and follow-up people and people that co-wrote with him, that it was fully his vision, his thing, and it's not going to lead to anything good. So if he needs to step away, then as sad as it would be, I think that we got one hell of a detective Batman movie. It doesn't mean we can't have another one, but this iteration I think is done.
Yeah, Coy, I know we've kind of not seen we haven't been on the same page with this in general, I think, because the way that I look at it right now, look, I love Matt Reeves. I think he's a brilliant filmmaker. I loved the Batman movie. Thought it was great. I think we're running into a Blade situation here. I think we're running into one of the, like, it's not in the way that they just don't have their stuff together with script and all that. I just mean with the fact that it's like, well, we're shooting now, and now we're shooting this, and now we're doing this. And the problem is that the DCU needs Batman. I mean, they need him. And if they are waiting for the Batman 2 to come out, they want that to come out before or within the same range. That article is not wrong. We're probably looking at another 3 to 4 years before we see Batman again in the cinematic universe. Whatever you can say, Coy, say it.
And I think my hot take is Superman has never been the leading force cinematically since 78. Right. And I think this is an opportunity to let the other giant titan of DC actually shine. I don't think Matt Reeves' Batman has anything to do with there not being a movement on the Batman Brave and the Bold publicly or privately. To my knowledge, I don't have any Batman knowledge that isn't public in this moment, but I do know that it is the summer of Superman and it's March. So April. It's April right now. Superman Day is around the corner. The Superman movie's around the corner. It's coming out in July. I personally, if I was James, Peter, or anyone, wouldn't be trying to talk about Batman when every single comic fan goes, oh yeah, Batman and Friends, DC Comics. Like, Detective Comics is what DC is named after. It's usually like 10 Batman titles to every 1 or 2 Superman titles. Personally, I think they're just trying to make sure that people realize that it's not Batman and Friends, the studio. So I think, like you had just said with Superman, that being their front-loading device, I don't think they should even discuss Batman, whether they are or not, until Superman is out. So I think they delayed the Batman movie because of stuff that's real life, not fiction. And that has caused Pattinson to be taking on other projects, but all of those projects still line up to do the Batman in the winter going into next year. So I think this is a matter of the Odyssey headlines came out. People saw that Pattinson was potentially going to be in both the Odyssey and Dune 3, and then we're like, how can he do it all? And it's like, well, filming a month each is how he does it all. It's not that complicated. So I think this became a bigger story than it actually is. But even if that's not the case, I don't think you talk about Batman until like October earliest, because you want July to be Superman's.
Yeah,
I wouldn't, real quick, I wouldn't say October. I don't disagree. I think I would say August, and I'll tell you why. Because Clayface is not too far out from starting and doing all that stuff too, and there's a good shot that Batman could debut in that movie,
and that'd be cool. What a different way to do it, and
could reveal in that movie. And I think Mike made that point yesterday on the show. And that's something to me that you need to have an idea of where he is in that world at some point. But I don't disagree that you got to see what your big movie's going to do first. Because if nobody cares about this universe, it's like a television pilot, really. It really is. It's like, okay, hey, we put this pilot out, nobody watch it. Are we going to make episode 2? No.
It's not even an episode 2. It's like, hey, we're thinking about this spin-off over here. And it's like, bro, I didn't even like the first 10 minutes of the show. Why do I care about a spin-off?
Right. So it's like you really have to pay attention. And they are. That's exactly what they're doing. They're definitely having these conversations about what is happening, and it's the same way but different in when we were covering all this stuff when Safran and Gunn took over. When they took over, the DCEU was still going on, and there are questions of, well, what are you going to do with Gal Gadot? What are you going to do with Jason Momoa? What are you going to do with Ezra Miller? What are you going to do with everybody? And the answer was every time, well, we'll keep the door open. We'll keep the door open and we'll see. And what that meant, again, was let's see how they do in the theater. If they do well, we're going to have a problem. But we hope they do well because we're company players. But if they do well, we're going to have a problem because we're probably going to have to incorporate them because it means you guys still want to see them. But if they don't do well, then we don't have to worry about it. Then all those doors will be shut. We won't say that publicly, but all those doors will be shut. And what happened? All those doors were shut except Momoa. They said, well, it's not shut. Just walk through that one instead. And that's essentially what happened. And that's probably the same type of conversation. They have these things on the wall and they go, okay, if that happens, then we need to do that. If that happens, though, we're going to have to do that. And unfortunately, if that happens, we're going to have to do that.
And I also want to speak to the fact that James Gunn has been very publicly open about wanting these different movies to feel like they're all getting their own creative vision. They're all getting their own time to shine, that the shared universe idea is not going to be as strict with this. Like the fact that we have Clayface, Sergeant Rock, Superman, Supergirl. Right. Superman and Supergirl have a through line, seemingly, I assume. But like it is very intentionally a movie that is like reading comic books where you can pick up one, you can pick up another. You can see the tie-ins, but they're not going to be like Marvel where it's like this. So I think that's the best place for something like the Batman 2. The Penguin, they advertised heavily because there was like, as DC Studios was coming together. So I think all the people that are like, well, James only wants one Batman, according to who?
Right.
Yeah. It's nothing that he has said publicly of that.
He's device. Implied the opposite pretty heavily.
Pretty heavily, you know. So I don't think that's really what's going on. I just genuinely think it's the duel of what is going on, of what James said. I'm not greenlighting or moving anything until the scripts are set and we feel good about it, and like this is going to be something quality and we're going to go forward. And then I think the other hand is exactly that. We have a essentially $1 billion franchise right here.
Right.
Why would we let that go unless we really can't make it happen? And again, if there's something personal going on with Matt, then that's a pretty real reason to not go forward.
It's true. You know, I made this point a little while ago, and it's so funny how we have turned, like, for some reason, the $1 billion movie is a measure of success. Like this comment, right? Why didn't that happen after the flop of Man of Steel? Man of Steel made $670 million. It was
well, it's also revisionist history.
Because it didn't make $1 billion. People think it's a flop. That movie's not a flop. It was because all the Marvel movies and everything was making these massive big numbers, and it didn't make, you know, what was it was the first one out the gate, right? And so that's what we're saying. So like, well, that flopped. How come the DCU didn't die? Because it made $670 million. It also had Chris Nolan on board. It didn't hit the numbers that they wanted. They wanted it to hit Marvel numbers, but it didn't hit that. So, but what they did do instead,
it was the fourth highest grossing film that year.
It was a huge. It was a huge number. It was a huge number. But what it did though, because the studio fell into the same pocket that guy fell into, and they said, "Oh, it didn't make $1 billion. We got to put him with Batman. Put him with Batman. Don't build up Batman v Superman. Let's do that. Don't build it up." And then the whole thing started to fall on itself because they didn't wait. They weren't patient. And I think Gunn's going to be patient, and that's what you need to do. So, all right. Well, that was go ahead.
Timeout. I apologize. That was domestic. It was 9th worldwide, which is still ridiculous.
It's $70 million.
Iron Man 3 made 1.2.
Wow, I didn't know.
Holy crap!
I didn't know it made $1 million. Right, but that's why back then I remember that. I remember clear as day. I remember people like, "Oh, it's disappointing. It only made that amount of money." It's like it made $670 million.
More than Thor: The Dark World.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Right. What do you guys think about all this stuff going on with Matt Reeves, Batman? Your thoughts have to be heard. Put them in the comments. Put them in the live comments. Put them in the replay afterwards. Put them on Spotify. Videos on Spotify. Make sure you check that out. Do that. So thank you. And by the way, we're on our Clips channel, which we've had for a little bit for celebrity clips and stuff, but we have been clipping out this show every single day. So if you don't have an opportunity to watch this show live and you're like, "Oh, I missed the show, but I only want to watch the clips," you can stop complaining about the time codes and you can just go on over to the Clips channel and watch the show through Clips. There you go. It's just the Kristian Harloff Clips channel. Simple, easy. Another story we talked about yesterday. We're going to talk about it again because he's talking about it again. 1923 star Brandon Sklenar talks about Batman once again. And he also talked about his favorite Bat actor. Now, I have a feeling he's going to say Val Kilmer. I have not read this article. I have a feeling he's going to say Val Kilmer because it's, just we just lost Val. Maybe not. Brandon Sklenar is at it again, expressing his desire to play Batman as well as his respect for the character. But this time, he reveals who his favorite incarnation of Batman on the big screen is. Brandon Sklenar is arguably the most common fan cast for Batman in the DCEU. Alan Richardson also wants to play Batman. He's close behind him. Sklenar seems to be the most popular choice. Sklenar is also known for his role in Vice. Really? Oh, well, he's going to say Bale then. I didn't even know he was in Vice. I don't remember him in Vice.
I don't remember him in Vice.
What was he in Vice? Oh, wow.
I'll look it up.
Let me know who he played in Vice. I loved Vice, as well as his role in 1923, not 192. That would be a very different series. He'd be wearing sandals and a robe.
He was Bobby Prentice.
Okay. A spinoff of Yellowstone, and now he's starring in Drop. Once again, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Sklenar has commented on his desire to play Batman in the DCU. Sklenar has clearly put a lot of thought into how he would portray the Dark Knight. He recognizes the huge differences between the various screen iterations of the character when different actors take the role. He wants to put his own thoughts and ideas into the character. He said every actor that has played that role is a different incarnation of Bruce Wayne Batman. If you compare Christian Bale's to Robert Pattinson's, it couldn't be anywhere different. I have my own idea on the character. If it ever comes to fruition, he was my favorite comic book character as a child, and he's superior because he's a real man. He's just really hurting and reeling from the death of his parents, and Batman is his way of coping. So I think there's a lot more to explore there, and there's a way to make it seem very real. Sounds like Sklenar does truly understand the character. His description of Batman as a coping mechanism for Bruce Wayne to deal with the loss of his parents is spot on. Despite all the awesome gadgets and vehicles, which makes Batman an interesting character, is the fact that he's a flawed coping mechanism gone too far. Sklenar also went to comment on both Pattinson and Bale's takes on the character. He gave a lot of praise to Pattinson's iteration, but admitted that Bale is his all-time favorite. Well, that's kind of biased, but I understand. But I also agree. So shut up, me. I've honestly enjoyed every incarnation of Batman, but Christian's was my favorite. I do love what Rob is doing with it now. It's a really bold choice, and Rob is just an incredible actor in general. So if it comes around, I would gladly take the torch, and I would not take it lightly. Just a few days again, Sklenar was talking with Screen Rant about his desire to play Batman. He was surprised and honored. He said, for Batman, let's keep running with that. That's something I wanted to do since I was a little kid. I've never, ever talked about it. It just started happening. I was like, this is cool. Now, maybe, hopefully one day this will happen. He also hinted inside of that might have been that DC was aware and whatnot. I've been talking about this, so it blew in the face. Apparently, Snyder said there's no way it's going to happen. Again, love Jeff, but there's times that he's been dead on about casting. There's times he's been wrong. I don't even think he said the Corn Sweat was going to be cast. So who knows? Maybe he did. He very well could have. I don't know. But I think that, if James Gunn's watching 1923, then if he's watching 1923, I think the guy gets cast. I think that this is what I said yesterday about it, guys. If you go and you watch the new movie that came out, Drop, you can see what he will do as Bruce Wayne. If you watch 1923, you'll see what he can do as Batman. So, Coy, you have now heard. Now, this is what I wonder, and I don't know if you can. When you guys talk on, I guess you can talk with your host. You can tell me this. If this is the thing. When you guys are talking about the stuff that's going on with DC and everything too, has his name popped up in the same way that, like, Jensen Ackles and those guys has his name been talked about?
What's funny is this question right here ties directly into the Superman thing. We haven't talked about Batman very much because we've been like inundated with being excited for Superman. In the first batch of, and I'll be totally honest, in the first batch of filming, which was a while ago, there was the Jensen Ackles conversation. There was all the like general excitement, but in the last like 3 months, it's been Superman. So I don't know this dude, so I wouldn't have brought him up because it doesn't really relate to my take on Batman. But I can honestly say I haven't heard anything about Brandon Sklenar, but only because it's been Superman centric.
Winston, so I mean, because neither of you guys are really familiar. We've talked about him before. You guys aren't familiar with him, minus Vice, we just talked about. But yeah, Winston, you hear about this, and I think someone said in the comment section that a lot of times, if someone's campaigning for it, hard for them to get the role. He's been campaigning for it, but he campaigning for it not in a way that he was like, hey, you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to play Batman. It's because people were like, this guy would be great for Batman, and people have been asking him about it in interviews. So he's like, yeah, sure. This is what I would do if I was in it. And so he's taking the moment. He's not like running around going, hey, you know what? I want to talk about Batman. He's like, he's asked about it, and he's actually showing the audience that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to it. So what do you make of the comments, and what do you think? Kind of going off, Coy says it does go back to our previous conversation. We're not going to know who the hell Batman is for at least a year or more, right?
No, we're not going to know for a while. Look, you vouch for him for all the stuff that you've seen him in. You tend to be pretty good at casting. I have long since learned to shut the F up forever when I'm like, I don't know about that. And you're like, okay, let me tell you like 3-4 movies. This dude is actually pretty fire. And ever since the Pattinson days. So I gotta, let that go. But I think he's just doing exactly what every actor's supposed to do in their press. And there's something honestly very refreshing. It reminds me a lot of Cavill, where Cavill will sit there and just have a nerdy ass conversation. You ask him a question, he wants to answer it. There's plenty of people that get in interviews and they don't. But if you ask him, he'd be like, yeah, let's play the game. Okay, bet. And that's what it sounds like Brandon was doing. Someone was like, you're rumored to be Batman. And he's like, dope. Let me tell you what I feel about Batman.
Right,
Like, he just sounds like he's doing a very good job of being engaged in his interviews. And until we hear a legitimate thing of like, hey, yo, this is happening, I think it's just fun to speculate, but there's nothing to put your hat on.
No, it's exactly what it is. And someone made the point, I think Snyder said this, which I do agree with, is that if you're talking about every time, it's like, this is what I would do openly, it means you haven't had conversations about it, because you'd be quiet about it.
You'd have to shut up.
You'd be quiet about it. So he's just going with the fact, like he even said with Ash, when Ash showed, he's like, yeah, the Batman thing, let's talk about it. Let's go with that. That's great. Yeah, if people want it, I'm down. I'll tell you what I'll do. This is what I said yesterday, and what I'll end it with. Whether he gets this or not, someone's going to get this guy in a big movie. He's going to be cast in something huge. It's just a matter of what it's going to be. Whether it's this or something, this guy is the next movie star. Yeah.
And whether he gets this or not, because of all these conversations, journalists are getting the clicks they want, and we are talking about a dude that I didn't know before.
Right. And that's the public. That's what the publicist likes anyway. The publicist and the agent. That's why they do this stuff, and that's why they say to him, "Look, we get you this role. It'd be great. Someone asks you about it. Talk about it. Talk about it a lot, because what you just said, people keep discussing the guy, and people know his name now. And if you've never seen him before, and I saw people in the comments. I mean, one of our daily comments, Alex, yesterday was like, I heard you guys talking about it so much, I went and watched 1923 to see. And he's like, and then he said, I see him as Batman.
He came out at CinemaCon, and it was him, Amanda Seyfried, and Sydney Sweeney, who are both like, all of 3 feet tall. And so he looked like this giant, like they're both, and it was so funny because when he came out, I hadn't seen anything. I was like, oh, there's that Batman guy Kristian's talking about.
Right. And that's what is going on. So we'll see. Whether or not he gets it, who knows? But as Coy said, people are learning the name. I'll tell you what people learned the name for about a second, and then they just said, "Nah, I'm good." And that's Captain America: Brave New World. They some of us saw it, and then some of us said, "Well, wait for it to come out on digital." Well, it's going to be on digital. I think it already is on digital, coming out pretty soon. Well, the writer Rob Edwards was talking about the reshoots and everything else too. We'll see what he says about these reshoots in this article. Captain America: Brave New World. Rob Edwards talks reshoots and Sam Wilson's MCU future. Captain America: Brave New World writer Rob Edwards talks to us about the King of Kings, reflecting on his MCU appearance, the movie's reshoots, writing Red Hulk, and Sam Wilson's Avengers Doomsday role. Rob Edwards wrote animated classics like Treasure Island and The Princess and the Frog before making the leap to the MCU for Captain America: Brave New World. His newest movie is Angel Studios' King of Kings, and we recently had the good fortune to sit down with Rob and learn more about telling that epic story, as well as explaining how his past work prepared him for the project. He told us about the incredible cast and how animation was used to bring his script to life. Talk did eventually turn to Captain America: Brave New World, and we wondered how the writer felt about the changes made to the story during reshoots. He said, look, it's part of the process. There's this wealth there's so many comic books, there's so many thoughts. Everything takes these different roads, and at the end, you just have to make some choices. And not all the choices are easy, and you just hope to wind up with the best movie, and I think we did. When we put it to him that it might have been a blast writing Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk, he replied, what a year, right? Oscar Isaac, Ben Kingsley, Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie. It's phenomenal. Captain America: Brave New World ended by setting the stage for Sam Wilson to lead the Avengers, and we wondered what Edwards hopes to see from new Cap in next year's Doomsday. He said he's Captain America now, so arguably he's running the show. I think that's the next step. I'm guessing as a fan, but I think that's where you go with Doomsday. You recreate the Avengers as was suggested in the movie. I'm on for the ride now. I can't wait for the next one. And then there's more that goes into it, but less about the Marvel stuff in this new movie. You can check out the article on comicbookmovie.com. There's really not a lot here with this is about the reshoots. Like, it happens. There's a very good company answer. Very good company answer. The guy wants to work again. So he said, hey, happens. Sometimes you get what you want. And we had to do a movie. You hope to get the best thing. And I think we did. What's the next question? I was like, and if I'm his publicist, you know what I'm saying? Excellent job. Excellent job. You don't get anybody mad at you. You got a phone call of, let's see that article. What did he say? All right. Yeah. Is he available next month? Like, that's what happens. That's how it happens. So, Coy, what do you make of this comment? You feel the same?
I feel like, movies, I always say movies are a miracle they exist at all. I thought Cap 4 was adequate, and that's not a fun word to use, but I didn't think it was the worst thing. I didn't think it was the greatest thing, but it was fine. And I hope that someone that had clearly as much passion as he did for the character, like his interviews are more interesting to me than a lot of parts of the movie, gets to work again. And I think this is how you have to navigate the game at this level when you're working the studio system. So I think he did a great job dancing.
Winston?
Spotlight's on, man, and everybody watching. Just smile and wave. It's the Hunger Games out here. All of the people at District 1 are just watching you. What you gonna do? What you gonna say? And he did exactly what he needed to do, so he can keep on dancing and make it to the next round. Like, you just do your thing, man.
Do your thing. That's what he did. So, what do you guys make of the comments, man? Do you think that he could have said more? He should have said more to give the perfect answer for what is happening as far as the Avengers and as far as Captain America goes. Yeah, I think we all kind of know that that's where they're going. He's going to lead the Avengers. We know that it looks like it's going to be Avengers, X-Men. As Kevin Feige said, there's going to be a bunch of different teams going after Doom. So we'll see how that plays out. There was an article that came out on Comic Book Movie about the DCEU. And this will be the last thing we talk about before we move into the questions. But I thought this was an interesting article because it started to make me think, okay, well then where are we going to go? Stop that. Where are we going to go if we like these ideas? Are they going to actually potentially bring these along? And the awesome DCEU movies that were in the works before the DCEU reboot, and Comic Book Movies Josh Wilding writes, when DC Studios was formed, several DCEU movies were scrapped by co-CEOs James Gunn, Peter Safran, from Wonder Woman 3 to Batman Beyond and Crisis on Infinite Earth. These could have been awesome. The DC Extended Universe wasn't exactly a success, though it would be wrong to say that it didn't deliver some good stories and box office hits. Still, something needed to change, and that's why DC Studios was formed at the end of 2023. Over the past 2 years, we've seen the DCU slowly start to take shape. Superman will kick things off properly this summer. Creature Commandos gave us a taste of what's to come and beyond, and the slate is mostly shaping up to be in equal parts intriguing and exciting. However, when DC Studios decided to take these characters back to the drawing board, there were some casualties. James Gunn has enlisted many of his friends to reprise their respective DC roles, but with a fresh start on the horizon, many ideas and movies were scrapped. So let's take a look. This one, clearly probably not going to happen. That's Batman Beyond. Michael Keaton was going to return he returned in The Flash, but there were plans for his Dark Knight. Beyond that, he was set to have a part in Batgirl and even shot a cameo for Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, with him established as the DCEU's new permanent Cape Crusader. All this was going to culminate with a Batman Beyond movie. Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey writer Christina Hodson was penning the screenplay, and with Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and Matt Reeves, the Batman franchise, the idea was to have the DCEU's Batman pass the mantle to Terry McGinnis. As if a Batman Beyond movie wasn't a perfect way to end Keaton's tenure as this iconic character, one idea considered for the project was his Bruce Wayne to rekindle his romance with Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Cat. That would have been pretty awesome, at least to see it. But I understand why you can't do that again. Wonder Woman 3, we knew one of the most high-profile casualties of DC Studios' formation was Wonder Woman 3. Gal Gadot insisted she'll reprise the role of Diana Prince, but reliable insiders claim otherwise, and Gunn, who is quick to debunk even the most minor rumors, remains silent about the situation. It's obvious now that Gadot's time as Wonder Woman is over and that Wonder Woman 3 in any form will no longer happen. Man of Steel 2, we knew that was potentially going to happen. There's an idea of confusion surrounding when all this plans changed. However, we know Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson was responsible for going around Walter Hamada to bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. That happened before Black Adam's release, with the actors back in the fold. Warner Brothers started mulling over Man of Steel 2 ideas, and he was doing interviews about him and all that. Superman versus Black Adam is another one. Dwayne Johnson quite fancy building the DCEU around himself, and Black Adam, knowing that he's throwing Cavill's Man of Tomorrow into the mix, would help with that. Had he gotten his way, Black Adam was going to be followed by Man of Steel 2 and Black Adam 2, and then the eventual face-off, which would have included Shazam in any way, shape, or form, which wouldn't have, given Johnson's apparently disdain for the character. Batgirl, which we also know. Batgirl had almost finished the shooting. They had helmed Bad Boys for Life and episodes of Ms. Marvel for Studios beforehand, and it got caught up in a change of regime, and they cut it for tax purposes. This one, J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark project had been in the works at Warner Brothers for years. However, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams ultimately tasked with taking charge of a slate of projects revolving around the supernatural superhero team. We'll see if that would happen. Crisis on Infinite Earths. While Johnson has led us to believe that he was solely responsible for Cavill's Superman return in Black Adam, that isn't strictly true. Yes, he made it sound like there was no other choice than to go around the studio brass to make it happen, but Walter Hamada had his own important plans for Man of Steel, while The Flash would end with Superman being written out of reality and replaced by Supergirl. The endgame was for Cavill to make his grand return in Crisis on Infinite Earths, would have been a welcome back or permanent farewell. Cavill even shot a cameo in The Flash that inserted him back into the DCEU. And then Justice League 2, of course, is the last one. So a lot of these, when you hear that, these that they put, the only one, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or right in this, that I think could, two of them, actually, two that I think that potentially could still happen, depending on how they built it up. And same conversation we had before, varying on successes of how the future properties do. Crisis on Infinite Earth, I assume, is something that could happen. I don't know the story well enough. You guys can tell me. Maybe they just don't. It's multiverses and stuff, so maybe not. And the other one is the Justice League Dark. Is that right? So that one is potential, and then maybe even Justice League once you've, in like 5 to 10 years from now, once you build up all the characters. So those I think are all possible. The other ones with Gal Gadot obviously is not going to happen. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel not going to happen. The Michael Keaton stuff not going to happen. But Winston, you hear these. Are you on the same page with me, or is there's no way that you can do a Crisis on Infinite Earth one?
No, you can do Crisis. I mean, Crisis is essentially to oversimplify is DCU's Secret Wars. It's the idea that you're having also kind of incursions happening. There's a cosmic evil force behind it that's trying to collapse all universes. It was another way for, and Coy obviously can correct me, to kind of reset DC continuity, give you a big kind of send-off moment, et cetera, et cetera. So you very much could. I mean, I don't know if there's, I understand TV and movies are different. I don't know if there's quite quite a rush
Is
because
it similar? Is it similar what they're doing with Doom though?
I mean, more or less, yes. With again with Secret Wars, it's taking all of the different iterations, mashing them together, and then having one final farewell to everything. So, like, I say all that to say, because you just did Crisis 2 times, both as an animated series of movies, but then you did it via like the Arrowverse, where you brought in, you know, people both involved in the shows and like Smallville and in some of the movies. Like you already had Brandon Roth in the Arrowverse, but he reprised his role as Superman from Superman Returns and that and all that kind of stuff. You kind of had that happen, and I see that being lower on the priority scale when you're just trying to build stuff out anyway. I think Justice League Dark is a good chance because it's something that we really haven't got a chance to see. We haven't seen Constantine since Reeves did it. Right. So we want to see what you're doing here, plus a lot of other fun characters like Zatanna involved and stuff like that. I don't know if you get Michael Keaton for Batman Beyond, but people have been clamoring for Batman Beyond for a while. So I am not saying I could see them also figuring something like that out, but maybe you just don't involve Keaton. Maybe you, I don't know, that is the rare way you get Affleck to come back, or you get Bale or something like that.
Affleck's done. He's not coming back. But Coy, I guess another one is potentially, obviously, with the build up. Their Avengers is Justice League, so eventually, I assume once you set up Batman, once you set up everybody, like I said, you're 5 to 10 years away from it if you do it right. But what do you think about this list? And do you think is there anything that they could revisit? No, you're muted, buddy. You're muted, Coy.
I think Wonder Woman 3 is obviously an out, but I think the rest are all various levels of possibility for their storytelling. Like these are all based on comic books that are being adapted. I would say sensibility wise, Justice League Dark is very much HBO Max, Creature Commando, Supernatural, Swamp Thing, stuff that we see DC doing differently than Marvel. Is like we started with a TV MA show. We've got an R-rated movie. We've got all these things on the docket that have been announced. 2 R-rated movies. So I think Justice League Dark is more likely under the new era because they tried to get that made for like a decade at the DCEU, and I think that's a possibility. I want it real bad. I also think that Batman Beyond is one of those things that is a good fan fervor that is also not quite deep cut anymore. It's pretty surface, but like James Gunn loves to have the characters that are just left of center get their time to shine. So Batman Beyond feels like, an option. So to me, there's a few of these that could happen. And I think Crisis would be like, 20 years down the line when the next iteration of reboots is happening and you want to bring in everything into one last ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go. This is a cool list. I think comicbookmovie.com, you can check that list out and tell us what you guys think and what movies could happen, not happen. Put your thoughts in there. Let us know. All right, we're going to get to your questions in just a moment here. And before we do, as I was talking about in the beginning of the show, I've been trying to eat well. I've been trying to get myself healthy, get myself some energy. And one of the ways I'm able to do that right now is because of Factor. Factor has been providing great nutrition for me and good meals and good choices. So I'll tell you about Factor and we'll be back with your questions. Oh, man, I love Factor so much. I really do. And you should make Factor your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well, it's never been this easy. You just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and they're ready to eat. They're perfect for any active lifestyle. They have 45 weekly menu options. You can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Doesn't matter what it is, Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breaks, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. I have been using Factor religiously. Why? Because I'll go to the gym, I come back, I'm in a pinch. They send me meals that I like, that is good for my diet, the things that I'm doing. Healthy, you can choose whatever you want. Factor's got it. So you got to get started at factormeals.com/Christian50 off and use that code Christian50 off and you get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Christian50 off at factormeals.com/Christian50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Try Factor out. Tell them that we sent you. You're going to love it. I love having Factor on board. I really hope you guys do check that out and make sure that you are using those codes, man. It helps. 50% off. It's amazing. All right, we're going to get into these questions right now. and you guys have a lot going on in your channels. Before we do that, I want to talk to you. I want to give you guys, make sure that you're following Winston and Coy. Winston, what's going on in the channel?
Absolutely. You can find me at the Swaggy Blur on all platforms. I'm having a really good time hanging with you guys on Sundays. We've been doing some streaming together there. I've got some stuff popping off this particular week as far as recaps and Blur breakdown. But I'm very excited that over with Roka on Tuesday, we will be reviving Spill the Tequila. We had some technical difficulties this week, so we're going this coming Tuesday. So definitely check all that out. And again, follow me on social media and you'll know when stuff is popping off.
Coy Chandra, what's going on in the channel, man?
So I'm right there at 45K. I'm literally at 44.8. I'm so close to 45. So jump over there. I'm back to talking comics every single week, starting this upcoming week. Also reviewing all the big movies. Also doing the Daredevil finale and every week of Daredevil. But I'm also going to be covering Last of Us and Andor season 2. So branching out of just purely superhero stuff into genre stuff in general. All of that. Plus, I just did a bunch of red carpet stuff at CinemaCon with the Hollywood Reporter. So if you want to see me talking to Chris Pratt, John Bernthal, Chris Hemsworth, Halle Berry, lots of superhero folk and other roles, you can also check that out over there. And then, of course, all the stuff at Real Rejects. But my page is where I do the most comic stuff. So please, if you love the comic books themselves, hunt me down at Coy Jandro.
Check them out, both. Show them some support. All right, let's get into these questions. Okay, as I said yesterday, I think that Steph and Mike were at like 32, 33 when we started. You guys are currently at 39. 39 going into the questions. So can you take them out at what I say, 126? I think that's what I said. So
It's doable.
Let's see. Shay Markel, is Captain Jack Sparrow one of the best characters ever put to film? I'm feeling like he is. What's another iconic role like that? Scarface, Tony S. I mean, the Joker for sure. Heath Ledger's Joker for sure. I think that he's an iconic character. For sure, Captain Jack Sparrow, for sure.
I'm gonna go Ripley.
Ripley's a good one too. Yeah, I mean Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. Sure.
I mean, truly,
yeah.
There's a reason why these movies did as big as they did. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I like it. It really was kind of perfect casting. Really did a great job of like bringing the character to life. If you're talking about just a film character, period, then I would actually go Gus Fring. I know that's more TV. But they did have the film spinoff. So I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Godfather too, right?
I feel Godfather too, for Michael Corleone, and I mean, there's tons. I mean, there's so many. I mean, Taxi Driver, tons. And then Shay follows it up. Jack Sparrow is either an extremely unlucky idiot or a really eccentric Kaiser Soze. Which do you guys prefer to be the truth? I prefer the latter. I would say the latter. I'd say more of a eccentric Kaiser Soze, but not as evil.
Yeah, I think he proved that he had some of his stuff planned more than he showed that he was playing the fool.
Yeah.
It's also just the idea of I don't know if you guys have ever read the 48 Laws of Power. It feels like Jack Sparrow was following every single law, and so you're always caught off guard by the fact that he pulled that off. What the hell? Yeah,
because it was like Chris said, it was planned. Yeah. Shay also says the dirty cop that leads the task force on Daredevil. He also plays a cop on the mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner, and he's just great in that role. Also, he's so good. He reminds me of every person I ever went to high school with. That guy's a really good actor, and I totally believe him in that role. He's great. Yeah, I really think he's pretty awesome. Miguel Zane, do you think that Ryan Coogler's gonna do Black Panther 3 next? If he does, I hope he brings back K-Dot Rihanna for a soundtrack that only makes sense given the status of Lamar right now until Olympics in LA 2028. I'm gonna have a hot take here. I think he is going to do it. I don't want him to. And I'll tell you why. I just saw Sinners and I loved it. Loved that movie so much. I want to see him do more stuff that's new stuff. Give me new stuff. Give me new. Ryan Coogler is that guy where you're like, oh, a new Ryan Coogler's movie's coming out. He's that guy. And I love what he's done with the Black Panther franchise. But I think it's time in the same way he moved on from Creed. Which I like what Steven did for the second movie, but I still wish Ryan Coogler would have done the second one, but he didn't. He moved on. He did Black Panther. I don't want to see him do the third one, but I do think he will. But Corey, what do you think? You think he's going to do the next one?
I mean, we had those Denzel quotes, right? So I think he's pretty confirmed.
Yeah.
I also think that, I agree with what you're saying with a side of I love that Nolan got a full trilogy and then and he did his own stuff in between.
He's young. He's
a child. And if a Black Panther 3 gets him 5 more paychecks for his blank checks to make Sinners, I think it will. I'm gonna say we lose 2 years of studio system to give him 20 years.
It's a good point. It's a really good point.
He's also just so young. Like that's the thing. He's so young. So by all means, finish out your trilogy. I
don't think Winston listens to us sometimes.
I listen to you, but I'm saying he's so young. I know you did, bitch.
Man.
It's a noble idea. It's a fresh idea from Winston.
Did you ever watch Pootie Tang?
No. That's Louis C.K. did that one, right?
He wrote it. It was a Chris Rock character from the Chris Rock show, and they did a full thing. And it's literally one of Chris Rock's characters is always explaining something, and then so Coy will be like, "Man, it's so hot outside right now in the valley. It's like 102 degrees, man. It's crazy. I'm sweating like great. The humidity is insane. I'm dying out here. It's so hot." And then his friend or me would go, "Yeah, and it's hot out here too." Like this is literally the same.
Exactly, 100%. You've been consistent. Miguel Zane. Let's say that Denis and Nolan are the top 2 filmmakers right now. Who do you think are just in the near bottom? Coogler, Matt Reeves. Thanks, y'all. I would let's not forget Inarritu for sure. He's up there. You've also got Alfonso Cuarón is another one. He's incredible, and he's apparently going to do. And they're talking about him for Bond. That's exciting. He hasn't done a movie in quite a while, but Coogler for sure. I mean, as far as event movies go, like Jordan Peele's getting up there as far as event movies. Like when he's making movies for sure. As far as he's making more studio kind of fun horror films than I think I would like to see him do a drama. I'd like to see him do like a full on drama and see how it does. He usually does horror thrillers.
He sticks to the drama stuff more in a producer element. And and also like TV shows. Otherwise, if it's filmmaking, he's been pretty clear that he really wants to stick to horror thriller. That's where he enjoys himself. So yeah, I would like to see it. I don't know if he will.
I'll also always see anything Fincher ever does or gets announced on, and I want to give some love to Soderbergh and Alex Garland for if they're on it, I'm there.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Harrison Martin. What is your guess for the titles of the next 2 films in the Spider-Man Day trilogy? Mine are Independence Day and May Day. Coy knows who May Day is.
I don't know if they're going to do the trilogy day thing, but it'd be really, really interesting if Doomsday becomes the first day, like Doomsday into Brand New Day, because they've already done one more day. May Day is the daughter who I originally thought that we might have the girl from Stranger Things playing, but I do feel like they're not going to do that trilogy where you're trapped in a title. I think they might actually start doing comic titles as this trilogy, which is what I hope they do.
Okay. Chris Crossan. Who do you think would be a good replacement for Muschietti if he ends up leaving The Brave and the Bold? I would suggest Mike Flanagan as an option since Gunn loved his Clayface script and he's a great director. Go Winston and Coy. I don't have an answer for that because I don't know what kind of tone they're going for. That's the other reason that to go against my pick on Brandon Sklenar. If they're going for a 45, 50-year-old Batman, he's too young. He's 32, 33, whatever he is. He's too young. So I don't know what they're going for. I don't know the tone they're going for. I have no idea. So it's hard for me to say what director and what take because I just know what tone they're going for.
Yeah, if I knew anything about the tone, I would point in a direction. I just know, it's not likely to be the Matt Reeves tone because they'd want to do something different. So that's the only marker I have. But otherwise, I'd have to see.
And we don't know the tone, too.
Perfect. Perfect. That's right. 100%. Good point. Not the best in the business for nothing. Chris Rainier. To clarify my comment yesterday, me saying it's creepy is not about the possible convo Gunn and Reeves may have had. What I meant is it's creepy how similar the Reeves situation is mirroring the Snyder situation. I understand what you mean. Well, we still don't really necessarily know the details of it, right? Like, what an unfortunate, horrendous, unfortunate situation that was. And we don't know. We don't know the details of it. We don't know what's going to come out. And as we said in yesterday's show, I really do think that that's Reeves, his prerogative of either letting us know what that situation is today or never. It's his. It's not for us to speculate. It's not for us to talk about if it's something personal like that too. It's not for us to even discuss. So we'll see how that goes. Corey, you got that mustache going on like Cyrano de Bergerac today. I like it. Okay. Connor Mullis. I love when Quirky and Wilson are on the show.
It's a quirky mustache.
Yeah. Connor Mullis. Gentlemen, I have jury duty this week. It wasn't awful, but I would have rather just gone to work. Have you guys had jury duty? Yeah, before I left, a couple of months before, I didn't get called on. I got very close. I was like, oh no, I'm going to be here. Oh no. And then it was Dunsky. So haven't in quite a bit. You guys?
2 years in a row, I had to call.
Yeah.
I thought there was a gap, but it literally happened. So I think there was a glitch where I got it twice in a row, but it hasn't been in like 2 years now.
Okay. Don't jinx it.
I've been like, I've gotten the summons, but like both times I'd never had to actually go in. So the one thing that kind of sucks, especially in our field with doing that, a lot of your shit is gig work.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you're just kind of screwed. So.
It's tough. Yeah. I was like trying to think who's going to host, who's going to do this. It's tough. Connor. Oh, it's going for you, Winston. Winston, are you excited for the Dodgers? Oh, it's the Dodgers. Big Dodgers guy here, Winston.
Yeah, it's huge. Love, man. Yeah.
Sean McCabe. Gentlemen, happy Friday. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you, Sean. Same to you. We had a great live stream yesterday for members only, and lots of great people were on there too. It was good to have everybody. Micah Claiborne. Hey, Coy, I just wanted to say thank you for helping me get into comics. I recently picked up All-Star Superman, Batman, Court of Owls, and Hush. You're an inspiration to me. Thank you for everything that you stand for and represent. Look at that, Coy. See, there's good people on social.
You know, I appreciate you guys being here because I can't read Twitter anymore. So thank you. Dude, those are three great like all-timer picks. Like that's a great foundation. I love to see that some of my ranting has translated to anyone picking up a comic, and I really appreciate it. I think we're heading into a very interesting summer of people just, we've been angry for a long time culturally, and a lot of it's for a lot of good reasons. And I think I hope we turn the corner into hope, at least for a moment, with some great DC stuff. I really want some joy out of this conversation, so I appreciate that.
Fingers crossed. Go pal. One time they tried to put me on a Latin King's triple murder jury in Trenton. Oh my God. I panicked and went full nullification to get excused. That's wow.
That's the part that's always so crazy is we need people to be on said juries, but at the same time, bro, I don't want to be anywhere near that.
No. Oh my God. Until that I haven't even thought about anything like that.
I had somebody that was caught up in a cop, cop killing a driver situation. A friend of mine was on that court case. She was like, "Oh yeah, it was terrible, man, because there's helicopters in the actual audience." Just like she's like, I don't like this.
Understood. Legend MM600. Happy Friday. Go Mariners. Yeah, sure. Connor Mullis, dude, my cat effing hates Mike. Every time he started talking yesterday, my cat started swatting the screen and hissing at him. Is that true? If that is true, Connor, you have to record that next time and send it to me. I will play that on this show all of the time.
That'll be a new button like mustard.
100%.
Cock?
No, not no. Cat. So yes, I will absolutely 100% play that. Please, Connor, if that's true, please next show do that. Okay, next one after that, and we're gonna get casual fandom. 2 Batman same time isn't confusing for casuals because they don't care about universes. They go to see the new Batman movie, and Affleck played Batman before and after Pattinson with no effect to his box office. And not really. I don't actually agree with that at all. I think that if you're trying to get, because they're going to choose which one, and those Batman ones were so far apart. The ones that did well were so far apart. Flash didn't do very well. That's the closest one to it. He was in there. What movie was close? I'm talking about when you're that close. You can do if you're going to do the Batman Part 2 today on 2025, and then release the new Batman in 2027, 2028. Sure, you can get around the casual viewers. If you're going to release a movie in 2026 and then 6 months later a new one, no, that's confusing, very confusing. And I disagree with you. I would disagree with you until I drop dead, because that's not. I couldn't disagree with that comment more. I appreciate the comment, but I disagree with it thoroughly.
And it don't make sense too.
That's right. See how many times you can do that. Legend MM600 pants, street biker. Ha ha! Jeans for the most of us. I don't get it.
No, I don't understand that one.
It's a quote from something, but I'm not getting what it is. Micah Claiborne, Kristian, the other day I randomly remembered your trials and tribulations with the squirrels. Yeah, that was before even I think your guys' time. Is that where the squirrels and the schmoes? When I lived in my old place, I had these really rotten squirrels that lived right outside. They one of them snuck into the house one time and was ripping shit up, and the other one, they were dicks. They were real dicks, and so much so that when I moved to the new place, the one that you guys used to come to, I was just ready for some shit with the squirrels. But the squirrels were nice there. They weren't bad. They weren't bad. I didn't have any problem with the squirrels. But the squirrels are terrible. Devontae Brown, what's up, man? In Daredevil season 3, Matt got evidence to prove Vanessa had Agent Ray Nadeem killed. He has an agreement with Fisk to keep her out of prison. Is that true?
Yeah, that is. I
thank you.
Watched season 3 for the first time. That's exactly why he has.
Okay.
It's been a long time. Thank you.
That's great to know. Devontae, you should be on this show.
It's both why he doesn't out him, but why he also has not attacked Foggy or Karen. That's the truce.
Got it. So okay. Now it all makes sense. Go pal. What's the deal with Vehicle Voltron? Did they just find another Japanese show and put the name on it? I don't know.
Vehicle Voltron?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Is that a Lions? Their vehicles?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sounds like
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but this is not on anything to do with this question. Coy, I didn't really get you love Sinners as much as I do?
Oh, dude. So like the fact that the music is used the way it is and the like anchor of that movie's emotion is so beautiful. I loved it, dude. And you can feel that a studio that hadn't seen his other work wouldn't have let him have that much leash. It felt like an indie film with $100 million budget. Like it felt so punk rock and like Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, it did. It was like $90 million, by the way, and used every penny wisely.
Masterfully.
It really is. It's my favorite movie of the year so far.
My number 2. It's like, but I have a Jack Quaid Novocaine. I love Novocaine.
I still haven't seen that one yet. Love it. Rocky McFly. I know you said you can't do extended cuts of Lord of the Rings with Sam because it's too hard to schedule a time for that long of a movie. Follows it up and says maybe you could split the sessions up though and have it break when the extended cuts break on the Blu-rays and then combine that into one video. Maybe this is a stupid suggestion though. It's not a stupid suggestion. My concern with it is this, because I've thought about that. My concern is that if I combine it into one video, Sam is very much like she's in it. Like, so I love watching stuff with her. She is in it. So if I break it up and go, okay, well, then we're going to watch the next 2 hours when are you available again? Oh, in 3 days. So now you got to wait for 3 days to watch one movie, not the next movie, the same movie. So I just want to finish the movie, but we're so far away from that because there's certain shows that we're still going to watch on the MCU. There's ones that I thought maybe we won't, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway and see. I don't know, but we just finished, like we just put up Falcon and Winter Soldier today. Luke had said, hey, you guys should probably do Captain America because it's coming out on digital now, but we're not even close to caught up with that. So I think I'm even going to wait for that because and so much like today. So this is what I have on the back burner, which I've been building stuff up. I kind of took a page out of Greg's book, and I have I had never really seen Final Destination, the first one. I think I'd seen bits and pieces of the first one, but I watched the first one with Tina. I watched the second one with Tina. We're going to watch the third, and then I'm going to start releasing them leading up to the new one.
Dude, I'm so jealous of your journey. I love those movies so much.
And then Sadie and I watched Step Brothers. She had never seen Step Brothers before. So we watched that. And then today, Sadie and I watched the pilot episode of The Sopranos because she has never seen that.
I've never seen The Sopranos either.
I know that one. You have to hold that and then Rocky. But then the other one, and then we're going to do Legally Blonde because I've never seen that.
You've never seen Legally Blonde, my guy? No. Oh, dude, that movie.
Out of every single person on this show, you're not allowed to say that.
No. Only because that movie is fantastic.
I'm sure it is.
Braveheart is too.
And you in a house full of women. I'm surprised that one of your little girls or your wife has not been like, you need to see this.
They have, and I've done. I'm going upstairs. They have. They've absolutely done that. My oldest has seen it. I have not. But I told my wife, she watched Team America with me. I'm going to watch that with her. John Bean VOD. Star Wars horror movie apparently in the works, according to Tony Gilroy via Business Insider. He also said he'd be interested in doing it. Thoughts? If they get him, great. But I said this was my text exchange with Luke when he sent this to me. And people are going to, I really don't care. People give me shit for it. I don't care. This was the exchange with Luke as he sent this to me. He says, Andor creator Tony Gilroy says Disney has a Star Wars project in the works, to which I wrote, blah. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I said, who cares? And because it's not who cares. It's not who cares as far as like, it doesn't sound cool. Sounds great. Will it happen? Yeah. Who knows? If Tony Gilroy said, I'm doing this, it's going into production, I would be psyched. I believe that that's going to happen as much as I believe that I'm going to win the Mega Millions in 5 minutes from now. It's just, I don't trust anything that they say they're going to do. They're full of shit. So yeah, there's, and if it eventually happens, hypothetically, if Tony Gilroy actually does a Star Wars horror movie, would I be interested in it if it was going in? Yes, I think that would be amazing. Armada. Jennifer Coolidge was a funny part of the Minecraft for me. It's funny. She was my least favorite part. Did you guys see Minecraft?
Doing gangbusters, though.
That is an understatement. I can't believe how good that movie is doing, dude. It's like that movie's probably going to drop off. It made 300 million worldwide. It'll probably be close to like 500 at least by the end of this weekend.
I'm going to react to it because it's like it's a fascinating cultural thing. I don't easily get to react to those.
That's it. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Probably a really good idea. DC Kogami. If Reeves can't direct the movie, could he possibly find a replacement and stay on as writer producer? I don't think he'd want to do that though, and I think it would take too long. I think that. Well, Corey, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was going to say that I think this is too much of his baby, that it would be hard to see someone else do the work, but it's also like whatever is happening, it's his life. And that's got to take precedent over, whatever this is. So I would want, if, this doesn't happen, for him to be able to focus on what he needs to focus on, whatever that is.
Winston?
He should focus on family too.
Perfect. DJ Case, Carl with support, follows up with support. Connor says, Coy, could you see Gunn greenlighting a Section 8 series? Seems right up his alley. I want to see Dog Welder go to town. Tell Kristian who that is. Well,
that is a deep cut, sir. This is a tiny team out of the Irish district of Gotham.
This is the one property that I actually do know. I know Section 8. I know it fondly.
That's amazing.
That's a lie.
Okay. So Kristian's got the gets me to believe stuff thing. Winston has the repeat what Kristian and I are saying thing.
That's right.
And I've just got sports.
You get the mustache. I
got the mustache. Yeah, Section 8 is a fantastic Irish district of Gotham. Dog Welder is a Steve Dillon created character who's iconic for the Punisher art. It's a really fun take on like street level hoodlums and hoods that get in these crazy situations. I would love to see a Guy Ritchie-esque Gotham story, but for like the Irish, that sounds delightful. Yes.
Dude, is it essentially Mystery Men?
Effectively.
Because the leader's six-pack, the team leader whose special ability is grotesque drunkenness and beating villains off with broken liquor bottles.
Beating them
That's
off?
a DC comic.
Let's not beat them off. Draw Riles. Maybe filming Batman 2 and 3 together. Reason for the delay? I wish, but no, I don't believe that's the truth. But I wish. Mike Joyce, who's worse now, Gunn Bros or Snyder Bros? I think the answer to that question, Mike, is fandom is worse now.
I love fans and hate fanatics. That's my take.
The answer is there's neither. All.
That's like trying for the Coy will get this one. That's like trying to compare, the Chiefs after they won their second Super Bowl to the Patriots. It's like, okay, you've won 2. Let's give it some time to really compare. Like the Gunn Bros have been around for a minor bit of time at this point. So
to me, it's just weirdo shit. Like when it comes to like really like people who are like when I say that, when it comes to like death threats or not doing like even that stupid exchange last week, Coy, when like this shithouse rat tweets at the fact that I don't ever respond to this stuff, but like I had said that I have concern about the dog. We'll see what happens, how they play Crypto out. I don't have enough reference into it, but it's my number one most anticipated movie of the year. And this idiot face Magoo is out there saying like, well, boomers who don't understand it. It's always guys like this who are you're gonna hate on the movie because you hate DC. And it's like, you fucking moron. Do you not even listening? You gotta listen. You gotta have the debate. I'm okay with saying I saw a lot of very intelligent conversation in that from good people who are like, hey, look, it's kind of representative of like what dog owners have to go through and this and that. And I was like, that's a good point. Okay, great. But it's just this weirdo shit that goes on with fandom sometimes. Like they feel like they're protecting like a base.
I still can't get over the fact that they attacked Coy for Agatha all along. That
right.
Dude,
so an entire community that had advocated for years.
Yeah, it's not one side of the aisle. It's the entire like the people who are like the stake the flag in the ground. We're the righteous. Oh, look at us. Look at we. You don't like acolyte. You racist. Boom. You don't like this. You misogynist. Boom. It's like fuck off. It's like people can just not like things or like things because they like things.
I will tell you this much because I remember having a long debate with Roca about the whole like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese situation last year. I know that for some situations it's because it's tied to other stuff, but at the same time, I need people to just take a deep breath and take a step back and actually look at what's coming out of people's mouths. Because people tried to say that I'm a race traitor because I didn't like Captain America: Brave New World, which is nuts.
That's what I mean. It's like it's
nuts.
It's just weirdo shit. Mick Horn, hey pals, how brilliant is the Energon universe? Incredible, so good.
Christian's favorite comic in years.
No idea what that is.
I won't fall for it twice. It's really good. The Void Rivals is, I think, especially incredible. It's Kirkman over at Image doing it, and it's fantastic.
Pretty good. Let's see. Draw Riles. Does anyone have a stronger first 5 films than Ryan? Maybe Nolan. Nolan probably.
Nolan. I'd say Nolan, Denis, but Enemy I didn't love as much. So I think Nolan and Coogler. Spielberg, that guy, he did some good stuff.
Spielberg, maybe.
I mean, there are quite the answer is there's quite a few people who have
right now
really good 5 films, but this guy doesn't miss. And I will say that people are like, my least favorite film of Ryan Coogler is Black Panther 2. That's my least favorite film. But I always follow this up with what he had to work with and the time that he had to work with and what he had to deal with in making that film goes to show how great of a filmmaker is. I was writing a completely different movie and putting together a completely different movie when his friend and his lead actor passed away, and he had to fire one out and make one in 2 years. So
yeah. I mean, I think that, and the fact that like even if it wasn't your favorite, I don't think you would in any way, shape, or form say it was a bad movie. No. You would say it was a good movie. It just wasn't great.
No, and what he accomplished in the amount of time that he did kind of shows you what a great filmmaker he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Armada. Maybe Saffron wants DC to only have one Batman. It like I said, it's that boardroom meeting where they have to see what happens. You got to figure out what's going on with Superman before you make this. I will just tell you this. I won't be surprised if Superman is like a $700 to $1 billion hit, and then they say the Batman 2 isn't happening. That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. All right, next one after that is B-Town. Best show of the week. Let's go. Thank you, B-Town. What do you guys think the odds are Pattinson merging with the DCU if Reeves does leave the project? That's another interesting question. I don't know. Corey, go ahead.
I personally don't think that's the tone they'd want because it'd be associated with the old tone, but I don't know. I want to see a Batman that is like, the blue and gray tights and where crypto makes sense in the Justice League tone. And that's a lot of the stuff I think a lot of Batman fans want to see. It's really interesting. It's actually kind of ironic that a lot of loud Batman fans want to see the more surreal and supernatural stuff. Meanwhile, we put out a big flashy Superman and there's so much vitriol for it. Like it's interesting. I know a lot of people that want Bat Shark repellent, we'll see if we get that.
Chips Bedwig, who says, do you guys really think they are dumping Elseworlds for DC? There were 3 different Batman in the 90s at the same time.
over
I
the
think he's saying
course.
Keaton into Kilmer into Clooney.
Yeah, but Keaton was 92 and 95 was 3 years. It wasn't
And it
connected.
was, and they were all like the
Universe.
difference there is like they were all kind of a part of the same
Right, that's right. It was
continuity.
sequels. Like, Val Kilmer was a sequel
Yes,
to
the actor that played Alfred was the same.
right, and that was confusing people. Also, is that they had there was it was. I remember people being confused. Like, wait a minute, oh, so he's actually the events that happened in the first Tim Burton film did actually happen, and it was confusing. But yeah, it was, but people didn't care because it was a brand new film, and they messed that whole thing up by changing it up the way that they did. So it wasn't really the same Batman at the same time. So but anyway, he said there were at least 3 different Batmen in the 90s. Audiences ain't that stupid; they'll get it.
That's also very different than we are running different continuities at the same time. That's where you're going to trip people up. It's not.
That's exactly. There was no shared universes back then. Coy, talk to Gunn, get him to keep Elseworlds. I think that I think that they'll be able to still throw things in there. They have Elseworlds in case a situation like this happens.
They're also developing an Elseworlds logo. We've talked about it. Like James Gunn loves that concept.
Get rid of that. You won't get rid of that. Go, pal. I just saw G20 with Viola Davis last night. It's perfectly adequate, but she's good enough that she got me to cry a couple of times. I'd go fresh, but barely. Which one is that?
I haven't heard of that.
I feel like I had heard.
I don't know which one that is.
What number are we at, Kristian?
Currently at 53. You guys need about.
Oh, she out here with more toned arms than Kristian. She looked like she would have won the punching machine. Okay.
Yeah, no. You need about 70. You need about 70 in about a half an hour. Go, pal. Also, I realized after last week's show that Adelaide Kane did Wonder Girl at San Diego Comic-Con, not Power Girls. Is that really a character or just a cosplay?
Wonder Girl's a character. She's a Wonder Woman character. She's a newer iteration. Power Girl's a different character altogether.
The Mohef Social Club, I think we should be less worried about the Batman casting. Give me a low-budget, depressing Tom King Mr. Miracle movie introducing the new gods.
I've been pushing that since 2019 with Jake Gyllenhaal. I've been trying.
Is that true?
Yeah, I literally have been like actively trying to get that made since the interview with Jake.
Hey, someone told me that those comic book shopping videos had since jumped to almost 1 million views. Is that true?
They do great now that, the internet caught up to the thing I was trying to make happen.
Yeah. Perfect. Sorry to bring up a sore spot. I'll pronounce this as big balls. Coy, what's some Fantastic Four and Daredevil comics that are your favorites?
The new Ryan North run of Fantastic Four, the Mike Ringer run of Fantastic Four, the Jonathan Hickman run of Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Chip Zdarsky's No Fear, the run after that with Chip Zdarsky, the Charles Soule run that introduced Muse with Ron Garney on art, Kevin Smith's Guardian Devil, and Frank Miller's first 2 arcs.
Nice.
What's the recent one where he like kind of comes back from the dead and is like running the hand?
Oh, that is the Dark Reign run, which is I think what they're adapting for season 2, dude.
Bro, the cold ass line he has against the U.S. soldier.
Don't tell me. Hippo nipple. What happens when an anchor being dies of old age?
I think that's when the universe is naturally meant to meet its end. That like concept would be like that's the end of that. But I love that question. I love positing it.
Good question. Yeah. The Sink Lord. I think that people don't like the Daredevil show because there's hardly any Daredevil in it. We get the reborn, retired aspect. Put him in the suit. He's been in it. It took a bit. They're doing 3 seasons, and it was like a lead up to it. It's like everybody wants everything so fast, and the same thing. I've seen the first 3 episodes of Andor, season 2 or first 2, and I can already hear people saying, "There's too much talking. They're talking too much. Too much talking." And it's like, let things build. Let things build. You got to see him in the suit. You saw him in the suit for 3 seasons. The storyline is him getting there.
You need to have some patience too.
100%. I think you need to have some patience. All right.
Best one yet.
Yes. Joel Familia. Hey guys, what do you think about the DC Comics Absolute Comics dominating the top 10 in sales for March? Thanks.
They're worthy. Those books are exceptional. Me and Winston have talked a lot about them. I think it's the best jumping on point in a long time for any comics. And they're these incredibly important characters that I think a lot of people hadn't connected to in a long time, getting a new generation. So it feels like the Iron Man 08 movie, but for comics.
Bro, the recent stuff with his friends being real big mad at him to Batman. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Is great.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. What thoughts on Magneto leading the Brotherhood along with his children and then teaming with Doom, who's been in the Void, and them going after the TVA? I just don't think they're gonna. Oh, Magneto, I guess classic Magneto, Ian McKellen.
Dermot.
Ian McDermott comes in and goes, "We need to go and take on Doom. Me and you and the rest of the Avengers must go down."
Dermot McKellen.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I think that would I think might confuse audiences because of the Miracle Children versus mutants stuff. But I'd love to see stuff get retconned with Wanda and Quicksilver.
Hell yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing is, look, you give Magneto any sort of premise of I can bring more mutants back, he's going to be like, yeah, okay, bet. So if Doom is promising him, all those mutants that have been killed, I got you, bro. He's like, all right, bet. So I can see it.
Eric Escato, hey guys, Schnepp used to go ultra sweaty over a pitch of Fantastic Four that Peyton Reed made. It was very similar to what we're getting. Was his idea stolen? Stolen? I don't know, it was stolen because he probably would have said something, but maybe he was part of the pitch ideas. Maybe he's got maybe he's got something involved. He's very involved in Marvel. It was between him and Gunn to get Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like Peyton is just like a ride or die nerd, and a lot of times, like I was pitching a '60s Fantastic Four movie like 10 years ago as a way to make that character work in a new era of Marvel, and I was thinking Phase 3 they should bring it in. So I think there's just some linear thoughts where it's like, oh, that would work.
54 at the moment. Can you guys get pushed out to make a huge comeback here and take out Steph and Mike with about 20 minutes left to go? You're gonna have to start climbing back. Haskell. Yo, Coy, did you get banned from X2? I did less for.
No, I banned myself. I'm basically taking all the apps off my phone, and I'm only gonna use them on my computer. And then I'm gonna use YouTube. If you want to talk to me, use my YouTube because that helps my algorithm. I have no benefit of being on social media except for disliking people.
How long? Hey. I'm just going to talk to you for a second. How long have I been telling you this?
You know what's funny is there was a brief moment where you were like doing monthly challenges, and I was like, do I just wait for Kristian to give me the excuse?
But wait, how long have I been telling you to do exactly what you just said?
Yeah.
2023 or 2022?
I'd say even maybe before that.
Around the time when we started, probably before, but around the time when we started doing the rewatches.
Yes. Yeah. So he's probably right. 2022. I was like, please stop this. Please.
I just want to love again. I just want to know joy.
You. I'm a massive fan of your fiance because she's definitely
she's so good for me.
Yes. Alex, really hope that if Soup Girl, I'm just in that mood today, guys, does well, they can set it films for Batgirl and Nightwing. The Bat family can't come fast enough. Who from the Rogues Gallery do you want to be the villain in Brave and the Bold? Ooh, good one, Winston. Who you got?
I want a legitimate Freeze. I appreciate what Schwarzenegger did, but that and Ivy, honestly, they don't need to. You can pick either one, but they both just obviously were overdone. And I loved seeing what we got to re-envision with Two-Face. Again, I liked Tommy Lee Jones, but I liked what we got to see with Aaron Eckhart. I wish we got more. I like to see the reinvention we got of the Riddler, and that was a little more grounded as well. So I would love to get both Freeze and Poison Ivy at some point as legit villains of how they are portrayed, because both of their stories are tragic. Like, they're almost anti-heroes at times, even though, they're just looking out for being wronged. So
I'd love to see either of those as the main villain and the background villain be Ra's al Ghul done like comic accurate for tying into Damian Wayne. I think it'd be cool to have Batman Begins did it great, but it was a while ago and it wasn't like the most comic thing. So I'd love to see like the Ghoul world, and then I would adore Poison Ivy. I think that's my number one.
Pretty good. Go, pal.
I was real quick. I was just explaining to because I joke with Kristen all the time that she's kind of Poison Ivy with the amount of plants we have in the house, and I kind of told her story. She's like, so she's just a woman who's right and no one wants to believe her? And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Dude, the current Poison Ivy comic is so good because it's just her being like, why does everyone hate me? I'm trying to save the planet. Oh, right, the murders.
Go, pal. Next week, all of Winston's lines will be, damn, shit, or that's whack.
Great movie. Shout out to Sam, man.
Tyler B. Any update on when Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2 will come out? Just finished season 1. It's not my favorite Spider-Man story. You know what's so funny is that Coy and Winston have told me about that. I got to get on it. So you tried hard to get me to watch it. I do need to get on it. Eventually I will. There's going to be a time where my wife is taking in the summertime. My wife is taking my kids on vacation. I'm going to stay back here and work, and I will probably. That's one of the things I'll probably watch.
I think it's this same time next year because I know they've worked on it already.
All right, well, there you go. Edward Collins too. You're going to see Warfare, my favorite of the year. I missed my screening on Wednesday night. I was so bummed. I was literally on the way to go see it, and I went back. I had to go back home, but I was on my way back to see it. I will see it eventually.
I want to. I'm part of my leaving social media or distancing myself is I'm trying to find fuel that's positive. Like I'm trying to go to the gym and not need to rage at people, and I'm trying to But the movies like Warfare really affect me. Like Civil War messed me up, so yeah. I'm trying to gauge my tolerance for the world.
Yeah, I understand that. Chris Bench, can you watch Invincible with Sam? Plus, you missed the Kaiser Soze moment after watching season 3. Made Daredevil Blade for me. I missed the Kaiser Soze moment in Invincible. I'm not sure what he means, but
you watch Invincible with Sam. Plus, you missed the Kaiser Soze moment. What moment? I thought we mentioned Kaiser Soze at one point.
I don't know what he means. After watching season 3, making Daredevil Blade for me. No, I'm not going to watch Invincible with Sam because I'll tell you, Squid Game really, not the show itself, but trying to do those reactions kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I said that's not working. I watched an old season of a show. I thought, and that's why I'm trying just the pilot of Sopranos, and that's it. And if it does well, it does well. But I tried to do a show that was popular in season 1 with Squid Game. Nobody gave a shit because I barely even got 3,000 views, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So I'm not going to. Invincible's been out already. I'm not doing it.
I'm really curious how your Sopranos does because I've never seen it. That'd be fun to.
Oh, you've never seen it either? Wow, you'd love that show, Coy. Wow. The Connor Mullis. The cat thing is 100% true. I will try to record it, but I normally am working on Thursdays with Mike, and I'll try my best. You take that day off from work. You hear me? 100%. I got to get that video. Very important. We'll play it on it'll live in infamy forever, Connor. Alex, fandom has definitely changed. I remember in high school running a live journal fan page for Smallville, and never was there vitriol there is now. Yeah, it's like a thing to be. It's like, and it's like sex sells. Well, hate sells. Now.
Hate sells. So, and back then we were all just happy to have Smallville. We were just happy that it existed. Now everyone wants to be right about their character instead of enjoy their character, and that's.
I still stand by that. Sure, we've all been kind of fed enough poison now that we react that way. But there's something very true to the idea of algorithms and people,
sure,
nefariously getting us lit like this. They're like that is really what's at the core of it. I don't truly believe that people are this hateful about this stuff. I think that we're all just constantly being manipulated to be so.
Maybe both. Matt Thomas, Harloff, got to give Kevin Smith respect for launching the first successful cinematic universe with the US universe in the 90s. Snoochie Booch, 100%.
I give him credit. He will not accept credit. All the time. And he will be like, well, and then they put him in Captain Marvel. And I was like, that's them giving you credit. Yep. And he's still like, well,
I loved his shared universe because I'd be watching it and I would go, oh, wait, Rick Derris. He brought up Rick Derris.
What's your favorite
cigarettes? They can do that. It was the most innocuous stuff. I'd be like, they can.
What's your favorite View Askew film?
Mallrats.
Mallrats for both of you?
Yeah.
It's probably either Dogma for me or because my initial intro was Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, and then I went back and watched this whole catalog.
Starting with Avengers is a crazy move.
John McCabe, glad there are veterans like Ray Mendoza getting into Hollywood. My biggest pet peeve is messing up simple stuff like uniforms and dialogue. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely understand that. If a veteran's probably very keen looking at that stuff, I completely understand that. Drew Riles, pretty sure Mr. Negative is the villain for SP.
Brandon Day Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
It's being rumored right now.
I think so. I think that would make the most sense tying to the comic books. It would also be a good villain for his mental state, being all alone. It would also be an interesting villain that would tie into what I think they want to try to do with multiverse stuff.
Okay, so let's see. This is a good question, actually. It's a very good question. And how would people know this, right? So it's good. I'm glad I can explain this. CJ, I'm fine with you not reacting to all the MCU shows, Kristian, but just for those who want you to react to all the shows, what's the minimum views they would need to reach for it to be worth for you? Okay, so this is how it works, right? In any business or anything, so you got to make sure that whatever your cost is on something, that the goal is that you exceed that cost, right? But at least in the very way we talk about box office all the time. If a box office budget is this, you want to at least make that, right? Let's say I pay for my editors and Sam. I want to at least make that in order to do that. If I don't, then it is a waste of time and effort and money that I could be putting somewhere else that we can continue to do this more. So the answer is, I would say anywhere between 15 to 20,000, maybe even if some of the episodes were doing, if I did like Moon Knight and Moon Knight was doing like 10 to 12,000 an episode, like, okay, we can push forward and do it. Probably still wouldn't, I'd probably still be at a loss, but I still would be like, okay.
But it's minimal enough that you feel like it would grow things out, because that the bare minimum, you're telling me if you're not making your costs, there needs to be some sort of benefit. And if it's like all of a sudden it's still growing the channel,
if it's still growing and people are, I mean, like I emphasize it all the time. It is so important for people to comment and like and do that stuff, because that's what lets the algorithm go, oh, I just had this conversation with a friend of mine who's asking me about how this business works, right? It's like, and I tell Winston and Coin that sometimes it's schedule wise and they just can't do it. But I always say, if there's a trailer that comes out that you want to see, like if Tron came out, it is not beneficial for you guys to review Tron 3 days later after it comes out. You can do it, but you're not going to see success with it because you're going to get buried in that algorithm. Your best chance, if you know Tron Legacy is coming out of the trailer, you drop that trailer the second it comes out, because before Real Rejects or anybody else, because the algorithm has been trained that's what that channel does. That's what those channels do. They do reactions, and there's more people like my out of theater reactions. I've been doing out of the theater long enough. My out of the theater reactions get pushed up top when I do them, because I do them often. So if you're going to do an out of the theater reaction, do it before I get mine up there, because when I do it, mine is going to push you down, not because of subscribers and everything else too, because the algorithm has been trained. So when you comment and you like and you do that and you interact, that is what helps the algorithm go, oh, they like when you do this. So like right now, Winter Soldier, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'll tell you right now, did way better than I thought it was going to do. I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to do like 8,000 to 9,000 an episode.
It's probably doing pretty well too, because Brave New World right now.
100%. Alex, Kristian, thank you for being considerate. Would you reconsider watching Miss Marvel with Sam? Thank you for your consideration. Alex, I actually did considerate that today because of the success of Winter Soldier. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe what I'll try to do is knock out, like, because I like that show. I just don't know how people are gonna respond to it. So maybe I try, a few episodes to see how we do. I'm not sure yet.
I mean, the other thing to go back to the question when people were asking you, even if it's not something that you're super into, like you're like, I don't really want to watch Squid Game with him again because I've already seen it like 5 times. Then if you want Kristian to keep doing those small independent ones, then put it on in the background somewhere, or go and comment on every single one of them just to help the algorithm in that regard.
I think what I'm going to do, though, because I said I would do the whole season, but it costs me money to have the editors edit them, and like I thought they'd at least do like 10,000. I think I'm going to watch the first 2 seasons of Squid Game by myself, and then I'll try to react to the third one when it's relevant. And that's what I'm going to do. Chris Bench, can we get Mark Ellis on a show? Yeah, he and I actually was texting with him today. He'll be on. It's just a matter of we got to find out when, but he'll be on. Epsilon Audio, rank these Spider-Man villains you want to see in the movie that we haven't seen. Hobgoblin, Craven, Mr. Negative, Chameleon, Jackal. Much love. Poor Craven. We haven't seen Craven.
Or Chameleon.
And Chameleon. I'm going to go Hobgoblin because I think the goblins are fascinating and they have so much lore. I want Jonathan Tucker as Hobgoblin. And then I'm a big fan of Chameleon. I think he's really useful cinematically. Then I'm going to go Jackal because I'm a Clone Saga defender. Craven, Mr. Negative, but Mr. Negative is coming, so that's my order.
I probably go Mr. Negative, Chameleon, Craven, Hobgoblin, Jackal.
Who's Mr. Negative? Is that Twitter?
It's me on Twitter.
The Sink Lord. Hey, Luke, you need to do a favor. Hey, Luke, you have to time code that right now. I just want that soundbite of Winston doing whatever noise that was. And have that as that's something. The sync board support. Let's go and hit that number. Still not good enough. Suit 61. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think Mike and Steph might have it this week, but that's all right. Yeah, that's it for right now. That was it. That was the last one. So right now, what is this? Squid Game season 3 comes out in June. Yeah. So you know what? Maybe I'll watch that. Maybe I'll watch the season and then I'll do the reactions in June. So I got 2 months to finish both seasons. Probably a good idea.
Plenty of time. You'll be all right. Especially because season 2. So far, season 2 is pretty short.
All right, let's get the smell out of here. So we got Coy, real quick again. Where can they find you?
Hunt me down at Coy Jandro on YouTube. Also every other week on Max on DC Studio Showcase. Also at Real Rejects. Also very, very happily here every Friday. It was funny. I was looking because every month I look back at like my schedule, and I was only here 2 weeks in March and like 2 weeks in February, and this month I'm home, and I'm like happy to be you. So yeah,
I'm happy to have you too. But to answer a previous question, that's good for my budget. Winston.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms. Again, this Sunday I will be streaming again, hanging out with you guys. I'm going to be doing a lot of Marvel Rivals on Sunday just because they started season 2. We're getting Emma Frost, man. She looks like she's going to be a titan. I think Kristian just burped through my promo.
I did that by accident and realized I thought I muted myself. I apologize. I got mad at myself when I just did that on mute. I apologize.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm done now. You done broke my train of concentration.
Pete Chetty, I think your Squid Game reactions would do better if you watched the dub version. As far as dub goes, it's not bad. I can't do it. I have to watch subtitles. I can't do dub version. CJ, thank you. People don't seem to understand, but hopefully now they do. It's business and pleasure. 100%. I mean, that's what it is. It really is about both. You got to sustain it as an actual business. Thanks for joining us here today. I appreciate it. I'm going to have an immediate reaction, social reaction of Last of Us season 2 episode 1 out today, most likely. So look for that. I'm gonna have my full reaction of that show up on Sunday. I'm gonna have the full Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier 1 through 6 full super episode, Lord of the Rings style. That's going to be out tomorrow. We got tons of stuff going on. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Sun Tzu finishes and says, "Hey guys, who do you think will play the adult Franklin Richards? I like Timothy, but I'm kind of Chalamet out." Franklin Richards.
That's a fun pick if he wasn't everywhere.
Yeah. Franklin Richards is who again? I'm sorry.
The son of Reed and Sue.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no Timothy for that one. I'd like to see him do other stuff also.
And I'd like to see him do other stuff too.
Yeah, right. Wow. All right. So thank you for being here. Now I take the apology back for the burp. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys on Monday. I really appreciate Winston and Coy being here. 100%. We'll see you guys later.